Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Fishel, and welcome to the official Metscast. I'll be doing this weekly for the rest of the baseball season, and I certainly hope that in subsequent weeks that I might have at least somewhat better news than I do at this point. As you all know, if you're a Mets fan, this year has been nothing short of a disaster and falling way short of expectations. So let's take a look at some telling numbers. Some of them just from this season and others comparing this season to 2022. So here is a chart showing the number of innings that our starting pitcher has gone and how many games the team wins, how many they lose, and the percentage of time that the starter is going that number of innings. So obviously our starter has always gone at least one inning, and our record is 36-44. That's 100% of the games. Then you jump down to 4 innings pitched, and the record is 2 games over 500, 35-33. But there's 15% of the time that our starting pitcher isn't even going 4, which, with the kind of talent that we thought we had in the pitching staff, that's pretty unacceptable. Now we go 5 innings, we're 12 games over 500, but again, a third of the time that's not happening. 6 innings for the starting pitcher, we're 22-3, 19 over 500, but 2/3 of the time our starting pitcher isn't going that long. And so that's obviously a problem. And then the rare times that the starting pitcher goes 7 or 8 innings, then our record is quite good, but it doesn't happen very often. Now, comparing this year to last year, through 80 games, last year we were 20 games over 500 at this point, 50-30. This year we are 8 below, so we're 14 games behind last year. In terms of runs scored, we've scored 27 less runs than we did last year. And in terms of hits, we are 56 below last year, and our team batting average is 17 points lower at .239 than it was last year at this time. In terms of series, last year we were 18-5 to this point in winning series and a 1-loss record in the series. This year we are 8-14 and about the same number of splits this year as opposed to last year. And the team ERA, 3.90 last year at this time. This year, a whopping 4.59. So obviously we're not hitting as well, we're not pitching as well. Everything is worse. Now, let's take a look at some of the batting averages of players last year versus this year. Now, Brandon Nimmo, at least through this date, has actually increased his average 10 points. Starling Marte has gone down from 282 to 254, although of late he seems to be getting his act together. Same thing with Lindor. Last year he was 248, which is not great, but it's certainly better than the 224 that he has this year so far. Again, of late he seems to be swinging a better bat. P. Alonso has crashed in terms of batting average, over 50-point drop. Now, the thing about it is, Lindor and Alonso are both on pace to drive in over 100 runs and have anywhere from, say, 30 to 50 home runs. The problem is that when those things don't happen, nothing else is. And so that's something, obviously, that needs to change. And then Jeff McNeil, maybe the biggest crash of all, last year at this time, 318. And this year, 255 and dropping very, very fast. Mark Canha was 267. He's dropped 26 points to 241. In terms of pitching, Taijuan Walker last year for the Mets last year at this time was 2.86. This year with the Phillies, he's 4.10. So we didn't lose anything there. Carlos Carrasco last year at this time, 4.64, which is not great, but it's certainly better than the 6.19 that he's accumulated so far this year. David Peterson last year at this time, 3.24. This year, more than double that at 7. Chris Bassett was 4.01, and he, now with Toronto, is 4.28. So we didn't lose anything there, at least in terms of ERA. Max Scherzer last year at this time, and last year at this time he was out on the IL, but his ERA to that point was 2.54. This year, much higher, 3.89, although his last few starts have definitely been an improvement. And Justin Verlander last year at this time for Houston, 2.03, and this year with the Mets so far, 4.11. That's what $43 million will get you. Okay, so in summary, a couple of other points. The Mets definitely made the right decision concerning Jacob deGrom, and as much as I like Jacob deGrom and I feel terrible about what has happened to him, the Mets had serious doubts about his health, and that certainly has borne out to be true with now him anticipating Tommy John surgery. We're paying $86 million for two pitchers, one that has an ERA in the high threes and another one with an ERA in the low fours. So not exactly getting our money's worth there. Jeff McNeil is a shadow of what he was as batting champion last year, the batting average having dropped about 70 points from what it was last year at this time. And I think it's fair to say that most players on the team are simply underperforming for whatever reason. And we can speculate all day long as to whether or not there's something going on in their personal lives, or there's something going on in the clubhouse, or they no longer have confidence or want to play for Buck. I don't know, but it's amazing how it has occurred pretty much across the board. That everybody, just about everybody, is performing at a much lower level this year than last year, and I guess only they have the real answer about that. So, and the thing about it is, every time that it looks like things may be turning, like 2 nights ago, we had a really great game against Milwaukee, won at 7-2, and then what do? We turn around right last night and lose, despite the fact that Epler and Cohen speak to the media, and everybody seems to be on somewhat of a united front, and then we go out and lose 5-2 to Milwaukee, and so it's going to be another series where we either lose it or split it. It's been a long time since we've won a series, and a long time since we've won a series on the road as well, although this one is at home, obviously. So that is it for this Metscast. None of the news is very good. But maybe in a week when I come back, there will at least be some reason to be optimistic. Can't promise it, but we can always hope. So you all take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you in about 168 hours, hopefully with better news. Take care.